James, you're doing such a great job. You should just keep going. That was fantastic.
I appreciate you. Well, the floor is
So
yours.
so the four to four is it's tricky. It's 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. You just have to figure out that back 12. It gets you a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to revisit this then.
Well, really tonight, I know you guys do a really good job of kind of sharing updates. Happy to kind of hit a few basics. What I found to be the most productive is really having more of a dialogue. I'd imagine that someone has the same question or thought that at least six other people have, and I'd rather personally answer it than necessarily just monologuing for 30 minutes. I could tell you updates really in the last 30 days or really 45. We've kind of come a long way with some of our partners, right? So we still remain, because we own the IP, the only platform to ever be able to actually create a collateralization for an IRS refund check. It's really hard because it's a mixture of tax forms, legal documents, and at the same time technology, right? So the IRS requires a it has to be a like to like registration when you're settling funds for a taxpayer, which makes traditional lockbox and treasury services almost impossible because you'd be creating millions of accounts in the absence of technology, and then all the regulatory compliance and KBA and everything that goes into that. And then at the same time, you have a lot of specific rules, not just how tax preparers are governed as far as our responsibility for due diligence, compliance, tracking, but also we can't directly do the settlement either. And so, it's funny, last week, actually the Saturday was our 1 year since we launched our platform, and we're coming up on 1 million users, which is wild and humbling as we've continued to grow. And next month will be a year since we first started providing support for this tax program. But going out and not only putting it together, but finding phenomenal partners like Carter has been one of the greatest benefits of what we've done, right? So we got everything built a lot of technology. You guys kind of joined us maybe 60% of the way through this kind of journey. So you saw the start of Treasury Services. It's a huge deal. And I do ask people to kind of have a little bit of grace for Carter, right? We try to happily stand up and say, "Hey, it's really we're kind of driving the bus," but to have a 70-year-old credit union risk their charter, I don't think you guys understand how profound that is, because if this wasn't correct in any way, they could cease to exist as a bank. Is absolutely humbling, right? From them deciding to put that trust in Anchor. So they agreed to work with us in March. They have a technology partner that has helped them build some technology. We've had to, fortunately and unfortunately, come in and help them catch up, because I think when I tell people what the opportunity is and the momentum of people that we have working with us, like you guys, they've never seen it before in the technology space or the banking space. And so, it's been, whenever you guys get a chance to talk about Carter, the fact that they care about the little guy and gal is absolutely insane. And so they've invested millions of dollars alongside us in compliance and technology. We've helped their technology partner, who has needed some love, get the last things polished. So took a little bit while longer to get their advances set up, but they are set up, which I'm very grateful for. And then we kind of had to go in and help the technology people remember the most important part of the process, which is people. And so the last really 45 days that the advances have been going, we've completely overwhelmed their system, right? So having little things that you and I would probably think is like the first thing you build, like how do you fix someone that gets stuck when they can't link their bank account? Or somebody says they unfroze their credit score and then maybe they did, but the system doesn't think they did, or they fail KBA, which it happens, right? Like sometimes you are clicking through and it asked you what four cars did you used to own, and one of them was like really cool, but maybe you didn't own it, but you kind of wished you did for a minute. That could have thrown you off completely. A lot of those controls for harder to be able to go in and override those were just not in the technology system itself. Um, and so we finished helping them build that support component. That's been tested. Employees have been hired. That went live Friday. Since then, we've already caught up about 40% of their backlog, which is wild. And then we've been, so I'm in a really positive place where we are in the advances. We've taken over most of the support, the technology. We've built automation. We've made sure that we are translation friendly, for the best terminology. If people are speaking maybe Spanish or French, German, Korean, Chinese, or really Mandarin, excuse me, they would be able to instantly make that browser extension and understand the program that we have. During that entire time, we had the forthright to not only make sure that the program works, and I think this is important because sometimes when you're providing a service, right, and you're helping people, but you also shouldn't feel bad about making a living, right? The work you guys do, meeting people, engaging with people, unapologetically, if you're impacting people's lives, you guys should be compensated to do so, right? And sometimes people get weird, they don't know how to explain that, but no, if I'm providing value to someone, and I'm spending time that I could put towards something else to take care of my family or be around my family, I should be compensated for it. And so while all that is happening, we wanted to make sure that not only can we do this today, but this program lasts tomorrow. And what I mean by that is really the compliance. We have always been extremely compliant in our process. We've put another $500,000 in the last 60 days into our technology, our tax efficacy. We literally have the who's who of the IRS as consultants for us, including 3 former IRS commissioners, in fact, 2 of which actually manage this program directly. And then one senior executive who's like just below the commissioner, but I like him. His name's Don. He was in charge of all of the examinationers that would review tax submission compliance, preparer compliance. And so we want to make sure that we're not in a scenario where a year from now, because these files, it's not like ERC or PPP or EDL, these are files that are done over an amended schedule. And so when it does, as long as we did our job correctly and the packets are right, they're going to process them. We don't want to be in a situation where a year or two from now, when the IRS comes and decides, hey, I want to audit an individual person, because they randomly audit files, or the inevitability that they're going to come audit us as preparers. We want to make sure that we've overly documented, we've overly collected, we have every piece they could ever need, so they have zero reason to go back and disallow any of these credits. Because that would mean the taxpayers would then have to pay all that money back, potentially with penalties. We would have penalties, promoters would have penalties. And so we've put equally as much effort into ensuring that when we do change folks' lives through your efforts, they stay changed. Nothing's worse than giving someone hope, and that's honestly what we're doing here, and then taking it away. I've been on calls because I also helped take over some of the capital raising, just to make sure that we put all this work in the advances. We don't want to run out of money along the way, because I'm betting that you all are going to see the same passion that I have for helping as many folks in the next 8 months, because we have 8 months to the day to get these submitted. I don't want to run out of money midstream. And so I've talked to everyone. I've talked to the biggest private equity firms in the country. We're in the middle of raising $10 billion. And when they look at the tax compliance and the things that we have put in place, they're absolutely blown away. And so a lot of work has gone in behind the scenes so that as you're out helping these people, things are going to be really smooth, and we're positioned to do volume because we still have a focus of trying to help about 4 million or so people. And in doing that, sadly, it's still only going to be about 8 to 9% of the people that are actually eligible. The other thing I'll mention around compliance, because it's important, is that really we're 90% of the market, I'd say, today. But sadly, we're the only group that's actually compliantly processing tax documents. And that's something that, James, I think I've sent to you and Laura before. I'm happy to share it again tomorrow. But we have a legal opinion from our tax attorneys, from the commissioners, that explain the responsibility we bear. And unfortunately, there's two other groups that are using transcripts and they're not signing their tax work, which is why we've seen a couple notices from the IRS, one in May, and then 2 in July, that have really started cracking down on people that are falsely submitting this information, which is what we've been working hard to prevent, because we don't want to create another ERC, especially for a group of people that were the first to go, especially in like rural and minority communities. They were impacted even more so because all the incentives were really driven towards W-2 employees and a lot more towards cities and urban areas. So we've made a lot of effort to make sure the work you guys are doing not only can get done, but it's going to stay done.
Well, Ryan, and again, just excited about what's going on, and I know there is some questions that I specifically want to answer or ask, and then if anyone has any questions, please type them in the chat, and we'll gladly answer those. And I know Laura's here as well. But one of the questions, Ryan, in the beginning, we were marketing, get your advance within 14 to 21 days. And we had a lot of fast growth. And obviously, with anything, I mean, hey, you're the first to do this. And I'm clapping for you again, to be able to be in around someone that has created something of this magnitude is ridiculous. But at the same time, we got people out there that really don't care about that. They care about what they heard. Okay. What would you say has taken place over the last 60 days? Really, it's been about 85 days since we've been involved. But what was it that you saw, or that really we couldn't get them done in that 14 to 21 days? Or can we get them done in that 14 to 21 days, because you are seeing everything? Just want everybody, you're very transparent, and I just want everybody to know what we know, per se.
Excuse me. Yeah, so a couple things. And I've got 3 kids under 8, so one of them is giving me the crud. We can flip a coin and see who it was. So sorry if I sound a little raspy tonight, but
No problem.
yeah, a couple things here is we typically say in as little as 15 to 20 days or business days, right? And little as, to be really clear, that's 100% dependent on really 2 factors. One is in most of it, well, it's 3 factors. One is mostly the client, right? So when they submit their documents to us, they have to pass KYC, they have to sign their agreements, they have to submit their tax documents. Our extractor/OCR software, typically it's looking for page 1, page 2 of the 1040. It's looking for Schedule 1, Schedule C, but we still have a human element that looks at it. Once everything gets submitted, we're going to look, right? So if I got items on line 5 of the Schedule 1, I know I need a Schedule E. The IRS will reject the file if we don't actually have the full tax return. Okay. And so that means in our doc review stage, we're reaching back out to the client via email, text, phone call, push notification, saying, hey, we're missing something. We need a full unredacted, unwatermarked copy of 2021. They can be watermarked for 2020, but we still need the copy that was submitted for that year. And if we don't have it, well, that slows the clock down because we can't progress without the file. Then when we move forward, we do our final review and we send them the documents to sign via our secure pipe file. They need to timely watch the video, read the instructions twice, because we still have 7% of people that can't that don't sign correctly despite the video, the instructions. They still don't do it. And so if they take too many extra days, that slows it down. If they send it to us, which happens about 7 to 8% of the time, incorrectly, we have to then tell them, and we have to ask them to send it to us again. All of which, again, now we're watching the days accumulate. If they do that, we also need to get their tax account transcripts. Okay, not tax return transcripts, but tax account transcripts. And so with those, we have them complete the 4506T in the initial part. As soon as they pass the doc review, so they know we're actually going to move forward with them and they're going to at least qualify, and we have the information, we fax that information off to the IRS. The IRS has 20 days, but they've been averaging about 30. So because of that, we took the time to develop more technology that, because remember, we have to make sure that what we get from, if the taxpayer provides it, we really have a burden because we're responsible to the bank. We have to make sure it's accurate. And so we created instructions and a technology because we saw this issue, and I'm glad we did, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But when you download the PDF from the IRS, there's a pixel. It's a security component that most people don't even know where to look at in a PDF file. We have the way of locating and knowing what to look for and how to find it. So our technology not only scans the tax account, the PDF that you pull off the IRS website to make sure it's the right year and the right person, but then we also look for the pixel. And if you edited it, you saved as, in any way you altered the document, it will reject it on our side. And that's allowed us to, because we have to get that approved, of course, by the lenders, because they're out lending money under the premise that the person doesn't owe the IRS. So we encourage everyone to do that. And that visibility is inside the broker portal under referrals. You can see if someone took the advance, whether the transcripts are there, whether the client did it or we got it from the IRS, it would show uploaded or not. And then we have to have those pieces to do the advance. So client, the IRS, and then also as we've been sending the files, we've been we don't have the luxury, especially when you're building something completely from scratch, you don't have the luxury of sandboxing it and doing it for months. You're doing it as fast as possible. And so with a lot of these support pieces, we realized we're not in place on the Carter side, and we were the only support, yet we had no ability to change things. We gauged files over the last 6 weeks. So we've done 1,000 advances, right? So I'm not sitting here saying we did a couple dozen and we're patting ourselves in the back. We've done 1,000 of them. That being said, we still have about 900 we're behind on. But I would tell you, by and large, the majority of folks need to get that tax transcript in. I'm going to tell you one more wonderful gift from the IRS, because I've had about 5 of them during this program. They've probably cost me $500,000, but what I'll tell you with the program is that you can actually get it done in under 15 business days. There's a channel partnership that does a lot in the Hispanic markets, and there's a group that guides their clients all the way through. Like they can't do it for the client. We have so many kind of gotchas in the system, from session audits to facial scans. Like the client has to do it, but they can help make sure the client does it quickly. The same channel partner holds all 5 of the top fastest speeds. I don't know how they did one of them, but they had one from the date it was created in the system. They got their money deposited, not even issued, but deposited in 11 days. I thought it was a glitch. So we had to look at that one, but we've seen 11 days. We've seen 3 at 14 days. And then there's been a handful that have been at 15 calendar days, not even business days. So it is possible, but those are the highly motivated and kind of handheld clients that are pushing through the system. Typically, on average, we're seeing the really 20 to 30 day cycle as being really the norm. I think going forward, I think we'll be completely same day by the end of next week with Carter. So anyone that has all of the documentation will get to take the advance. The other thing we're seeing, which is also now visible in your dashboard, is that we've issued 1,000. There's 425 loans or advances that are available and no one's signed them, which blows my mind too. So we've had to go in during the last 6 weeks and we've taken over all of the automation. So we have texts, we have emails, we have smoke signals. Okay, I'm thinking about buying some owls like on Harry Potter. Maybe that'll help some people. I don't know. But we are engaging these folks to say, hey, if you have questions, call us, text us. We've rebuilt and kind of forced Quillo, the technology partner for the bank, to humanize the enrollment. We did that 5 weeks ago. So like it's very explainable even before the loan component, because there's like regulations you can't change. It re-explains everything. But we do have almost another 40 or so, 42% of loans that could issue this second if people logged in and actually finished doing it. And so I've pulled, we have 5 people that are working on that. We've reorganized our support team into kind of like mortgage processors, where you've got a success case manager for every file, and the actual client will see that person's name, phone number, email, and soon they'll see their picture in their SETC dashboard on the gig portal, so they know who they can call versus just reaching out to support. So again, it's doable, but a lot of it really depends on how much the client's engaged. And I would tell you the most successful folks, unfortunately, are just taking the extra 5 minutes, creating that account on irs.gov, and uploading their tax transcripts for us without waiting. We actually had I've had 4 of these since we started this program, but about 3 weeks ago, we had a Department of Treasury agent pop into our office and say, "Hey, are you guys Anchor Accounting?" We're like, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, hey, we got a call from Kansas, and they think their fax machine is getting like hit with a cyber attack." And we're like, what do you mean?" And so again, this is the IRS. So they were like, "We just wanted to know if maybe you guys had a technology system that was malfunctioning." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" They said, "Well, they were getting like 500, 600 faxes a day for 4506Ts, right? The transcripts." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, do they look past the cover page, like where the actual client form is, and see the names are different?" Sorry, guys, I'm a little tired, but it's annoying. And so the guy, first of all, just so you guys know, it's a felony to destroy tax documents for a taxpayer. I just want you guys to put that in the back of your mind. So we were like, "Well, did they look at him?" And he was like, "Well, I don't know. I'm now investigating." So like, this is the watchdog that watches the IRS. It's not like they're out just watching the tax preparers. And so he was like, "Well, no, but that's really interesting." I said, "Well, what happened to him?" And he found out, he said, "Well, they threw them all away." I, I won't cuss on this call because I'm being recorded. But so we had to go back and resend. We didn't know which ones they were. So and by the way, we pay for every one of these we send. So we went and resent 6,000 of them. And so that restarts the clock. So that's the 4th time the IRS has destroyed taxpayer information. They threw away, I think, 3,000 tax files in January that we realized. So that's where having that technology was so crucial, where folks can upload the tax documents, because what we learned from one of the commissioners, Darren Gilliot, who works with us, was that 57% of the IRS employees today are less than 2 years in the job, which is crazy. The IRS code, I think, is 180,000 pages. So they probably, if they read every day, 8 hours a day, they still wouldn't have finished it by now. They all would have probably quit too. That sounds really terrible. But that's the challenge you face with the IRS, is that unfortunately, they don't have to meet service standards. You have employees that are maybe not properly trained or supervised, and it's really hard to fire a federal employee. Don't know if you guys ever knew that or not, but that's where we've been doing a lot of things to try to bring in the technology or the resources so we're not dependent on the service. So sorry for the long explanation, James, but hopefully that added some context.
Definitely added some context. You know, we're going to bring Laura up here in a second. I know she has definitely have some questions. But what I want to do, Ryan, if I may, if there's any questions of anyone, does anyone have any questions out there for Ryan? Could you please go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll go ahead and allow you to ask those questions, or you can type it in the chat. We definitely have some people here that's rocking and rolling with us, Ryan, and excited about everything. So, you know what? Matter of fact, in the meantime, Laura, are you there? I know Laura was trying to get in a little bit earlier. So let me go ahead and unmute you, Laura. And again, guys, this is really about you. This is not a scripted call. This is a call of just updates and information. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask those. Laura, you should be. You know what? In the meantime, while we get Laura on, I did have another question today. Someone else is getting funded, and they said, James, they want a power of attorney over me. Is this legal? You want to touch on that? Can you touch on that, Ryan?
Yeah, so without a power of attorney, it's like James getting your mail and getting a check and saying, "Oh, it's cool. I got you. I'm going to deposit it, and I'm going to take care of you." So part of Treasury Services is settlement. So typically, when that happens, the bank has to create, and that's what made it so unique with the credit union, is everybody becomes a temporary member, right? We pay for that. We pay for Treasury Services. If you read the limited financial power of attorney, it's very, very limited in scope. It only specific to this program and these tax years, and that's allowing them to perform the Treasury service. It basically becomes mute for anything else, and it's worthless after this program is over.
Got it. Okay, great. I know Ms. Matthias, are you there?
I'm here. Hi.
All right. All right.
Great evening, you guys. I apologize. I am in my car because my AC went out and I didn't want to melt in the house. So.
Laura, you still
Can
there?
you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
There's a delay, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
So my question to you, Mr. Ryan, oh, by the way, it was such an honor to meet you in person, and thank you for your hospitality, and we had a lot of fun, so thank you.
Absolutely.
That was great. So my question is, you mentioned the amount of files that you'll be able to process. What do you expect come Labor Day? What do you anticipate that you're going to be able to process?
We can do 4,000 files today. And I would say Carter can keep up by like the week after Labor Day. I feel very good about that. And then really our goal is, I'm hoping you guys keep us busy. We'll be able to do 10,000 or so as we move into September. And then really it all depends on our distribution partners and making sure that, you guys are keeping us busy. But our goal is to be able to comfortably handle 25,000 files a day by January 1st, which would give us really a big push the last 110 days and get us close to that 4 million or so impact target that we have. Now, if you guys get us 50,000 files, we have contingency programs in place with Alliant. They've got several thousand employees that would come in and support us. So we certainly have the capacity to grow and do so compliantly. It really just depends on how motivated all of our partners are to spread this opportunity out to everybody.
Yeah, we definitely anticipate the growth come September 1st. We're in the final stages of the negotiations with the largest trade association in this country, and we expect to roll that out on September 1st. So there's going to be a lot of media exposure. So any sub broker that's associated with Matador-Advisors, it's going to be huge for everybody, and it's going to go viral. So this is going to be quite a ride. It's going to be a huge rocket, you guys. And once we finalize our agreement, we're going to announce that very shortly, very soon. And it's such an honor and privilege to be with the best firm in the country. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Also, thank you, Ms. Matthias. Would like to definitely introduce Ms. Christine. I don't know if she's if I'm saying her name correctly, but we're definitely lining up some private trainings. We're gonna start next week. We'll have some get started sessions and things of that nature. Christine, I don't know if we could.
Hey guys.
If you could announce yourself and we'll love to introduce you to everybody.
Hey guys, super happy to be here and thank you so much for introducing me. Been working with Ryan, I want to say for the past 2 months now. Really hit the ground running. So just really want to get you guys on track and support you any way that I can to help you guys all be successful.
Well, we're definitely excited and we definitely need the support. So we have some big plans. Huge leaders are now definitely coming on board, and we're seeing the funding. So hey, that's all we need to see, Ryan. All we needed to see is money in the bank account. So people are getting excited. Laura, did you have any other questions? Or if anyone else has any questions, raise your hand. Again, this was a 90-day update. And again, Ryan, we're definitely excited and thankful for what you've put in place. And now it's completely off to the races. Completely off to the races. But if there's any other questions or anyone, please raise your hand or hit the chat. All right, we got Jeff Smith. Give me 1 second, Mr. Smith. Or you can go ahead and come on in. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, Mr. Smith. Let's see here. You can come on in, Mr. Smith. You should be unmuted. You're unmuted, Mr. Smith. Are there any questions?
We
All
can't
right.
if you're talking.
Okay.
Well, James, how appropriate, since I took you and Laura to see Keanu Reeves's band, that you brought one of the main characters from The Matrix to ask us a question tonight.
That's so funny.
We're definitely in alignment.
Well, that was awesome. He could definitely play the bass guitar. That was super cool.
Yeah, he got down. Is there any other questions? Again, I don't want to hold. I know he's exhausted at 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. right now, and we thank you for being on as well. So you know what? We'll have you on for a couple minutes. We're gonna make a few announcements, and if there's anybody that has any questions, maybe they can come up. But ladies and gentlemen, we are excited with a lot of the advancements of Matador and where we're going. So we will have full customer service as well, full support service as well, and that will all roll out the first of the month. Everything's in testing right now, so we will be really helping you push your files, helping you push your business. Also, if you're really looking to expand, I will be doing a lot of traveling. Start next month. Actually, next week I'll be in Dallas, and I'll be heading over to El Paso for some pretty large groups as well. But I will be available for you if you're a sub broker. If you are a sub broker, and we got to revisit everything. So a lot of the agreements are now null and void. If you didn't sign your agreements, they are null and void. For some, if you are producing and building, we can have that conversation. But we definitely, there has been some changes. I let it be known inside of the group as well. But for those that, are doing what they're supposed to do, hey, you're locked and loaded. But I'm letting you know right now, this is a rocket ship, guys. And it's very, very important that you understand that moving forward, we're definitely taking this extremely serious. And those are people that I'm looking for. I want to work with you. I need your help. I need your support. We need your help. We need your support because we got to get out here and really do something huge here in the next 8 months. And I do believe, and I'm just, I've been pretty good on launching businesses and knowing what's going to go and where it's going to go. I see this being the biggest thing to hit in terms of the ability to earn a big ticket by supporting other people. Okay, so I've been in network marketing, built organizations over 100,000 people, and I'm making 15 cents on a box of coffee. That's not what we have here, right? That is definitely not what we have here. But again, it takes us all unified to really build something amazing. So we do have a question for you, Ryan. I have a question as a taxpayer. If a person only earned a few hundred doing gig economy work in 2020 and only 2021, would they meet the requirements for the program?
That's a great question that I can't accurately answer. And the reason being is that the 60% of the credit is heavily weighted to individuals that had disruptions for their children. So if they had children that were dependents, it has to be a son, daughter, or legal, a child you have legal guardianship over. It can't be like a grandchild or niece or nephew unless you actually have guardianship. But depending on where their SE line 6 is, right in that 2000s range, they could possibly slide in like a little over the 2000 minimum we have. I would encourage them to go and apply through the calculator because that's the best way of finding out. And the reason we have a minimum is we want to help a lot of people. I also can't do this at a negative. And then we also think that you guys deserve to be compensated on every file, right? They wouldn't have had the opportunity if it had not been for you. And so we want to make sure those two things stay true, but never at the expense where the client is not actually benefiting more than any other party in the actual process. And that's where 2000 kind of came in as our minimum threshold.
Got it. Thank you.
And also, James, it's a testament to your willingness to impact people that you're actually going to get on a plane and go to Dallas and spread hope. I saw the Cowboys preseason, man. I'm telling you, that's what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm an Eagles fan, so that is commitment right there.
I believe
even Jerry might need it. I've seen his salary cap. He might need some help too.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. You know what, Ryan? I believe we have some great people here. I think they heard what they needed to hear. And if they didn't, we have Miss Matthias. Christina, go ahead and come on in.
Yeah, I just have one question, Ryan. Christina here. I just was curious, is there any talk by chance that maybe this program might roll over into another year at all? Like any extensions on this program? Because I know a lot of government programs like HAMP and other things, they say they're going to end, but really they do roll them over like from 1 year to another year, like depending on the program. There's no talk at all that's even in the background, maybe for the next upcoming tax year?
They can't. So the other programs were, this one too, it is a congressional act, right? So it would require Congress. But the reason why they won't do this compared to the other programs is that this is not like a manual collection and then you send it off and it's manual reviewed. This is an amendment, or you can submit it with a regular filing or an amendment. It's a form that goes into an amended tax return. So for Congress to overturn and extend this credit, they would have to allow every single return in the country for 2021 to be given an extra year to file an amendment. And they've never done it. I don't think they would. But it would require all 2021 tax returns to remain eligible to submit amended submissions through 2026. So if you Google how long do I have to file an amendment, you have 3 years from the original filing date, which is why April 2022 is where we got April of 2025. I just don't see them doing that.
Thanks. I was just curious. I appreciate it.
I wish they would. I wish we had honestly found this a year sooner. And it's funny, like I was on a call yesterday with it was funny, the largest credit lender in the country. They've got about 6 billion that they lend more so for tax credits. We told them no a couple 2 weeks ago because they wanted to charge 35% to clients, and I said we're not doing it. But they came back and they said, well, why don't you just focus this program? Because technically SETC can be applied to companies too, and we could certainly build the technology to take out the PPP periods, and there's still a lot of money that companies could go get, but nobody really has put the time or efficacy into actually helping the little guy, because transactionally it's not worth it compared to, like, you could do SETC honestly for a company and probably see checks in the 100 to 300,000 range, but that check goes to the company, not to the employee, just like everything else did. And so for me, this is more of an impact mission than an income mission. And so unfortunately, I wish we had an extra year, but I don't see Congress doing it. But the other side of the coin is that I also don't see where Werfel can actually stop this program. The number one fraud in the country, it's not Medicaid, it's the earned income credit, which is filed for every single year, and it's on every most tax returns. 33% of them they know are false, but the good outweighs the bad, and the IRS processes them every year because they don't have the manpower to enforce it. So they're not going to go after Grandma Joe for $8,000. It's political and financial suicide. They're going to come after the preparers. But I don't see where they can moratorially shut this down like they did the ERC, because it's tied into that amended tax filing.
Wow.
Thank you again. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there any other questions? We're gonna let Ryan go to sleep because I know you'll be up in like 2 hours.
Right.
But what I will say, if there's anyone else that is thinking about speaking or asking any questions, remember there is no such thing as a bad question. I was asking him some stuff when I at his office, and he was looking at me like I was crazy. Trust me, there's no bad questions, guys. So, but again, buckle your seatbelts, guys, ladies and gentlemen. We know it's the real deal. We know it's real. Fundings are happening. Commissions are being paid out for those that are marketing the program, but more importantly, those gig workers and those that need it, they are now definitely receiving. So we're excited. Ryan, thank you. Thank you, Christine, as well. Thank you, Laura, obviously. But I'm going to let you know right now, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Okay. I want everybody to type "get ready" in the chat. Type "get ready" in the chat. I want you to type "get ready" in the chat, because the funny thing is I hear so many people talk about what they need, and financially they're going through this and they need that and they need this. But where have you ever seen a program where someone like Ryan has invested millions and millions of dollars in the infrastructure, giving the infrastructure away for free, okay? Allowing you to market this for free. You're not paying a monthly. You're not dealing in any of that, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is simply, while you're sitting there on your phone all day doing this, looking at reels, like I tell my young, I don't want to hear about the basketball guy. I want you to go out and make the basketball video so people can watch you, right? Put forth that effort, because I'm going to explain something to you. You're going to be upset. Like always, guys, I'm going to share a little quick story, and I'm going to close out. 2014, I heard of this little crazy thing called Bitcoin. Everybody telling me, James, it's a scam. It's this. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. But I want to say about 2017, when it went from 3,000 to 19,000, my phone started ringing. James, can you teach me? Can you show me? I knew you knew what you was talking about. I'm like, so what I'm trying to say is, don't be that person that miss that opportunity again. Okay. Again, I've been doing this in this space for over 30 years. I'm saying this very humbly. I'm sought out by companies all over the world. They want to fly me everywhere. They want me to tap in and share my network and connect the network. But I've never, ever seen an infrastructure like this for free with you having the ability to make 6, 7, 8, even 9 figures if you really take this serious. Okay. We're already seeing it.
Right.
So we're no longer in beta. Okay. It's all gloves off and it's time to run. All right. So with that being said, I want to thank every last one of you. Please stay tuned. If we don't have your email address, make sure if you're in the WhatsApp, give us your email address. Let us know, because we're going to be releasing our schedule. I'm going to be getting with Christine. We're going to start our Getting Started Fast training. So you'll be able to bring your clients on. Let them see the process, right? Let them know it's real. Let them know this is not James at home in the garage with his iPhone calculating your tax returns, but a legitimate huge business. So with that, guys, God bless you, and look forward to seeing you all soon. Bye-bye now.
Our technology would actually work, James, in your garage on your iPhone, but that's another story for another day. So capitalism on 3. Let's go, right?
Let's do it. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.